Today I would like to say that we are very fortunate to have with us Major General VPS Bhakuni, who was the former Commandant of the Selection Centre South in Bangalore.
General Officer was commissioned in December 1981 in the Dogra Regiment and has served in Operation Pawan in Sri Lanka and Operation Rakshak in Jammu and Kashmir. He commanded both his battalion and brigade in the Counter Insurgency environment in Jammu and Kashmir and has total 7 postings in Jammu and Kashmir. The General Officer is a graduate of Staff College and has done Masters in Management Studies. He is an expert in selection process and has been in the helm of affairs of Selection Centre for the past 2.5 years.
Good morning once again. I think the questions after the lecture which you people have asked me to clarify, I'm quite used to it. In most of the forums wherever I go to talk on particularly services selection matters or selection in the armed forces concerned, these are the common questions. So I am going to take on one by one. The first question very rightly asked, how to prepare for the SSB? Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the SSB procedure, you should know this is a time-tested procedure which we adopted in 1942 during the British period, during the Second World War, when there was a large requirement of the armed forces. And we adopted the same system in 1947 and it has been going on since then. Yes, there have been minor changes in that. We had initially 29 officer-like qualities. We squeezed them down to 15 officer-like qualities. In 1998, since there was a large number of candidates coming for the Service Selection Board interviews, we introduced stage 1. But in essence, let me tell you, the procedure has remained the same. Second thing I must tell you, let me be very clear on this, that have no doubt about the Service Selection Board procedure. This is the best selection method. I think a lot of other people from different organizations wants to know more about it. Even the corporates also want to emulate certain good points about the Service Selection Board, because not only it's time tested, but we ensure that there is no interference from whatsoever. It's a completely independent procedure. And as I told you during my talk also, there are 3 independent agencies who are going to judge you, and ultimately the result is based by that. There is no outside interference. Let me tell you, since 1947, we have 4 selection board today. There has not been a corruption case against the Service Selection Board, or there has never been a kind of allegation which has been investigated as far as the clarity and the honesty of the selection system is concerned. So this you should know. So have faith in the system. Though large number of people fail and they think that there is something wrong there, since I have been part of the system, it is absolutely fair. There is no reservation, there is no caste biases, there is no political interference, there is no interference from your higher headquarters. It's absolutely clear. So that must be. Now coming to your question proper, how to prepare for the SSB once you get the call letter. I will just give you 6 points. The first thing I generally found as the Commandant of the Service Selection Board, that the people are not really knowing the procedure, particularly people of the South. They come to know, large number of them come to know once they reach the Service Selection Board, and they find out from their friends. They are very unclear. In interview, we are able to find it out. So what is their motivation, the kind of answer they give. So we know that they have formulated it here only by listening to their friends, etc. The idea of joining the armed forces has not been there in their heart before. So it doesn't matter. But at least what I expect from them is they should know the procedure. What is the procedure after all? So the first thing I would insist on, know the procedure in complete. What is the stage 1? What is expected of you? What is the stage 2? How many tests are there? And what is expected of you? you should know at least that there is in stage 1 and these are the tests carried out there. And in stage 2, you have the psychological test. And which are the tests in that? At least practice one of them, at least once or twice. You have the GTO test, which is in the ground. You have the interview procedure. At least this much one should know. If possible, they should practice. The second thing which I would advise them is improve their communication skill. Ultimately, any interview procedure for that matter, whether it is in the army or in the civil, depends on how you communicate. Because you may be intelligent, you may be knowledgeable, but how will you tell the interviewing officer oblique the people who are going to judge you what you are? It is the medium is communication. Your communication skills has to be good, and let me tell you, they can be improved. By persistent effort, your communication skills can be improved. Along with that, I must say, though in the Service Selection Board, the language medium is English, they allow you to speak in Hindi also, wherever you have the difficulty. But with my experience, I can tell you that if you do not have reasonably okay or good communication in English, even the God can't save you. I will be very frank and forthright. Why? The reason being, though the language skills can be improved, but what happens, the medium of training, whether you go to NDA or you go to IMA, is English. You will be left out there. I remember visiting NDA once, and the Commandant NDA tells me, "Yeah, what kind of guys you are selecting? Look at this. We are having an English class for the certain student. There is a class going on." And this is what he said, please keep in mind, at least the person is able to understand the instructions, what instructions are being given to him. That is the second point, that is your communication. The third issue is knowledge. Now, unfortunately, today's youth is so engaged with the social media communication and internet that he's forgotten the world around him. At least have some knowledge, I will say some general knowledge, because a lot of questions are posed. You will be taking part in the group discussion, you will be taking part in the lecturate, you will be interviewed, a lot of general knowledge questions may be asked. If you are totally clueless what is happening around you, I think the chances of you making are very, very slim. So knowledge is very, very important issue. Along with that, the next point I will insist on is your personality. What do I mean by personality? Yes, personality, they take 15 qualities. You do not have to bother about those 15 qualities, 15 OLQs. They are put into 4 factors that should not be a concern. What is your concern by the personality is how you are as a team member, because what kind of initiative you take and how you conduct yourself. Also, your attitude, what kind of attitude you have, whether you have some leadership qualities, whether you can influence the group or not. So this is what is your personality. A positive attitude is also very important. Your initiative is important there. Your self-confidence is important. So these are, I will group them under personality without bothering about those 15 OLQs. If you meet this much of requirement, I think you have won the battle. And last but not the least is your fitness. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, if you are not physically fit enough, then chances of your making is very, very less. Why? Some people come there with 10 to 15 kg overweight. The moment we look at them, we know, yeah, this man is not serious about the armed forces. Why to waste time on him? We may interview him, but we initially get a poor impression. And his fitness, we see, though it is tested partially in the GTO task outside when he is doing individual obstacles. But even the interviewing officer can make out his fitness level. If you are overweight, please come to the shape. If better start running, start doing some obstacles so that at least you do reasonably good in your fitness. And along with the fitness, I will say, though it is part of the personality, is when you go now for the stage 1 or for your interview, please dress properly. Take a haircut if you can. Otherwise, let there be at least, I'm not saying you have to dress for, something for some special occasion, but a formal dressing means a normal shirt, good shoes, and a matching trouser. Some people put on with a formal dress a PT suit which is of a different brand, which distracts the interviewing officer or the people who are looking at you. At least simple matching dress. You don't have to buy a new pair for this thing. If you keep in mind these 5-6 things, I think you are preparing well for the SSB. So please make a note of it.